Day 3 of New Orleans Saints training camp is complete. Day 2 of practices are as well. It is the New Orleans Saints training camp show right here on CST. I'm Todd Graffagnini along with John DeShazier. And JD, you know, you never want to say you're taking an indoor facility for granted, but boy, it's nice to be able to come in when there's lightning in the area and, of course, a big rainstorm coming through where the Saints can come inside and practice with little or no transition at all, no downtime whatsoever.
Yeah, fantastic to be able to complete the work. That's the main thing. Unfortunately, the fans lose out. It's an open practice, so they don't get an opportunity to see the end of practice. They got a chance to see about the first hour and a half, and that's unfortunate. They don't get a chance to come in and see the guys work. But the main thing is for these guys to complete the work, and that's what accomplishes when you come inside.
Big topic today was Marcus Davenport, of course, moving into his second year here with the New Orleans Saints. Kind of an injury-plagued early portion to his season in his rookie campaign, but you know what we're going to see on the field from him is going to be big because he's going to be needed out there on that edge rush.
Yeah, I think he's got some freakish abilities. He is a long guy, he's a wiry guy, but he's a little bit stronger than you think, and we've seen some of those qualities. Unfortunately, didn't get a chance to see him for an extended period of time, but I think we will this year.
Let's hear from head coach Sean Payton on how Marcus Davenport has improved the mental side of his game.
You see the alignment assignment, where a year ago, you know, he'd be into his first week of training camp. So right away, you know, he's got a much better feel for the technique he's supposed to be playing. We're not in pads yet, and I think we'll begin to see other areas. But you know, the second year into it, I think he's a lot more comfortable with where he's aligned and the technique involved.
Mobility, you know, hip mobility and strengthening my core, and just really getting back to my mindset of the game. You know, how I attribute myself and what kind of player I believe I am, what kind of player I actually am.
Well, we're 2 practices in, JD, but I think we've already seen what Teddy Bridgewater can do as far as the backup quarterback. He's coming into this year not having to worry about the injury he suffered a few years ago, and it's strictly football now, and you can tell by the way he's playing.
Yeah, he's a lively guy, a fun guy to be around. You can see why they love him so much in the locker room. He's really infectious. He's not injured anymore. He's the Teddy Bridgewater of old, we believe, which is one of the reasons why the Saints wanted him.
Thought it was very important, too, to hear Sean Payton talk about Teddy, because he is a free agent, and they really thought that they had a chance for him to not be here anymore, and that kind of worried Sean Payton, and here's what Coach had to say about that.
With Teddy, number one, I love all the intangibles that are necessary to play that position. He's real smart. He's a fantastic leader. I mean, he's a guy the players really look up to, and I thought today's practice with him was really good. So he's got some of those it things that you look for, those traits that carry on to the field with his teammates, and Taysom does as well. And so it's a pretty good room right now.
And I was glad that you know, Sean and my agent were able to meet. It just so happened they were on vacation at the same time. But you know, it was just very important for me to be back here. You know, there were opportunities, but you know, the biggest opportunity for me right now is being in New Orleans, and I'm looking forward to maximizing each and every day of training camp. You know, it's a time of year where you get to hone in on the little things that'll make you great come November, December. So right now, you know, my primary focus is just on being the best teammate that I can be, being the best man that I can be in the locker room as well.
Of course, another offseason acquisition was Jared Cook, who's going to be counted on heavily in the passing game. JD, I think we're going to see Jared Cook in those seam routes a lot this year, something we haven't seen really since the Jimmy Graham days. But, boy, it's good to hear Jared Cook talk about his ability and how he prides himself on getting yards after catch.
Yak is important. It's one of my goals that I set every year. It's one thing that I emphasize in my game every year. I always set how much yak I want to get per reception and what I want my average to be. So, and it's important for a receiver to understand what it brings to the game to get yards after a catch, and that's where most of your bulk yardage come from. So it's very important as a piece or element of my game.
Coming up next on the New Orleans Saints Training Camp Show right here on CST, John DeShazier talks with left tackle Terron Armstead. Welcome back to the New Orleans Saints Training Camp Show. I'm Todd Graffagnini. Let's go to John DeShazier, who is with Terron Armstead.
All right, big fella. I saw you doing some interviews, and Cam Jordan walks up and says you're the best tackle in the league. True or false?
I feel like I am, and there's high praise coming from a guy I consider the best defensive lineman in the league, regardless if he said that about me or not, But I'll work to be the best for sure. I'm not coming out here to be second to nobody. So I work to establish myself as the best tackle in the game.
We seem to ask you this every training camp coming in, but we'll ask you again, how are you feeling physically and mentally?
I feel good. Physically feel good. Feel like I was moving around well today. Mentally, I feel well. Excited to have all the guys back, and we're looking to do something special.
When you say do something special, you have a vibe of the locker room that we don't have, obviously. How hungry do you believe this team is?
We got a winning mentality for sure. We losing is not an option for us, and so we have to attack every day as such. And that's a level of expectation on a day-to-day basis that you got to live up to, and it's tough. But it starts at the head. You see Drew early, late, putting in the extra work, so it's contagious. Everyone has to do the same thing.
What do you think of the standards you guys have set? Because you were around for a couple of lean years, a couple of 7 and 9s, and now these back-to-back division championships, back-to-back years where you get to the playoffs and flukish plays eliminate you. Mm-hmm. What kind of standard have you guys set now?
Right back. We hit the ground running. That's going to be kind of our little slogan, motto for this camp. We're hitting the ground running. So early in the morning, as soon as them feet hit the ground, we're going. And just having that mentality, that mindset, daily progression, keep that arrow pointed up every day. With the roster we have, the team that we have, we come together, we buy in. It's only going to be winning and success. We're built that way.
This is a really strong, formidable line, but you guys will have a difference at center this year. Mm-hmm. No Max Unger. How does that dynamic change this offensive line, or does it?
Definitely miss a guy like Max. Great player for a long time, all-pro player, Super Bowl champion for sure. So got to give Max his due. We have 4 guys that's capable, more than capable. And it'll be a learning curve for them getting in with Drew, taking all those reps with Drew. But the competition is tight between Cam Tom, Will Clapp, E, and Nick Easton. So I'm excited for that race, for that competition. But the guy that ultimately wins that job, he'll be earned it.
How much do you guys help out in that situation, whether it be the tackles or the guards? Because, again, you're going to have a guy in there who's going to be inexperienced, and, he'll work some with Drew, but you guys can help with the diagnosis also.
Yeah. I mean, whoever's in there, like I say, he'll have earned the spot. So it won't be a situation where nobody will have to babysit or anything like that. He's in the fire, and he'll be ready to go. We'll try to make it easy on each other anyway. We make calls to kind of take the load off of each other. We work together as a unit. So whoever's that centerpiece, I'll be a part of that.
Knock wood, but this team could have the best set of tackles in the league. Ryan, All-Pro last year, you Pro Bowl last year. You've had some outstanding seasons, All-Pro last year. I'm sorry, correct me. You guys really have a couple of good tackles. Is that a strength of this team?
Most definitely. We like to think so. Me and Ryan like to challenge each other, and we take on the challenge of blocking these freak athletes. Every week is somebody. There's 2 or 3 guys that's getting paid top dollar to go rush the passer, and they're really good at their job. And so we have to keep them off our Hall of Fame quarterback. And it's tough. It's hard work. Every week is hard work. But we take that, we embrace that challenge, and we just go out and try to do it to the best of our ability.
Okay, so now how much are you looking forward to either the first preseason game or the first regular season game? Because, I know you vets kind of, it can get a little monotonous in training camp.
Try to avoid that, getting bored. We don't get bored with the process. It's hard to get bored in this heat. You're trying to stay alive. So, but no, try not to get bored with the process, especially when you're getting up there in the camps. This is my 7th one. So coming in and just working at it. I got a lot of stuff to work at in my game. I'm going to start the camp off rusty like everybody else. So I got to knock that off and get back to, mid-season form. You hear that a lot. So the sooner I can get to that form where I feel extremely comfortable, that would be most beneficial for me.
Welcome back to the New Orleans Saints Training Camp Show. I'm Todd Graffagnini along with John DeShazier. Big day tomorrow at camp as the players will put the pads on for the first time. Let me tell you what, I'm talking to a lot of these guys. They are absolutely ready to do that.
That's one of my, one of the things I pride myself in is running behind my pads. And so, when you put that armor on and it complements my game, I'm excited. That's a little step closer to real football.
I don't know, it's tough to say because, like I said, fundamentally this is really an important time. But then when the pads come on, you're thinking about more. So it's something that I think is needed, but then when the pads come on, it's go time and it's real then.
Todd Graffagnini back with John DeShazier here as we wrap up the New Orleans Saints Training Camp Show on CST. Again, we just touched on a little bit, JD, but pads tomorrow, and that's when it really gets fun for not only us watching, but the fans as well.
Yeah, we heard the players talk about it, but this is where you really start to gauge, especially the lineman position, offensive and defensive lines. It gets a little bit more physical. Guys are able to impose themselves on one another, hopefully, without injury. But these are the days where, as Ryan Ramczyk says, it kind of gets real.
We're looking forward to it. I know you are as well. We will be back tomorrow for another edition of the New Orleans Saints Training Camp Show on CST. Todd Graffagnini, John DeShazier. See you at camp.